Welcome to the Edinburgh Fringe. It's Monday, it's week 2, and some people have taken the day off. Yes, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Ewan, Spence here, not having a day off here. I rest at the weekends, at least for the podcast. Thanks as always go out to the team at Radio 6 International for helping me get in and syndicating out our weekend specials. It's all here on the podcast though, you're not missing anything. Although if you do go out today and you're expecting to get the full slate of Fringe shows, you might be missing something. It is the middle Monday, so it's, if you include the previews, it kind of just about works out. So today is the point in the Fringe where a lot of the shows would go dark. Traditionally, it's pretty much every show, but now you have some shows go on Monday, some shows go on Tuesday. That way the venues can keep running 24/7 all the way through. So it is very much check listings for details. And now for some smut. In 2024, Bryn Woz decided that the way forward was to write some smutty poetry. And from that rhyming moment, she's workshopped, performed, and reimagined her show, the titular Smut. And the current iteration is now on stage Assembly Roxy here in Edinburgh. The premise is a washed-up burlesque superstar, Entendre Entendre, inviting audiences to the launch of her memoir, Smut. Yes, the name of the show and the name of the book going on in there as well. And it is a gateway to a, how shall we say, a very eventful hour. Bryn and I sat down to talk about evolving an hour-long show from a rhyming couplet, the importance of a Fringe poster in setting the tone, and the value of the Edinburgh Fringe through the rest of the year. And a cat interrupts us, predictably. Bryn Woz joins me, and Bryn, your show title just makes me...
We all, maybe not we all, but I think a lot of us like a bit of smut now and again, don't we?
Oh, very much so. Yes, this show's built entirely on smut.
Well, great. Then I think I found my people. So, yeah, thanks for having me.
Tell us about the show.
In Smut, I play Entendre Entendre, who is a washed-up former burlesque superstar. And she's embarking on her book tour for her memoir called Smut. And it's about the many lovers she's had in her storied past. And so the show is essentially a book launch for her memoir. And she's telling these stories through filthy poetry, song, dance, striptease, and audience interaction.
Why smut? Why that word specifically?
I like titles that are, sometimes I go like overly complicated and like make them too long, or I like them too short. I don't like middling. So there's that. I think there's something about the way it sounds that just kind of hits you, in a way that it tickles me. And, yeah, I guess when I was really starting to form this show and I figured out which direction it was going, I woke up one morning, it was like January 1st, actually, I think, 2024. And I was like, hey, I want to write some smutty poetry. It just like came into my head. I don't know where this came from. And then I sat down, I wrote like 4 poems and I was like, oh, these are actually kind of good. And so yeah, whatever inspiration came from the heavens into my head, it was like smutty poetry, smut, yes.
So is that the starting point of this show, or did something click later on after the poetry?
So that's about when it clicked, actually, is when the poetry happened. Before that, I was developing the show under a different title, and I was doing there's a lot of overlap in that show and this show, but it was like from my point of view as Bryn, And I had been working on it for a while, and it was just I was having I was having a block. It just wasn't quite clicking for me, and I wasn't quite sure why. But this inspiration of smutty poetry kind of set me in motion to the show as it stands, because before it was just mostly like storytelling, straight up storytelling. So once the poetry was introduced, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then I'm like, who is telling these stories? And then I kind of came up with this character, and then she became this vehicle, and then more pieces fell into place. So I don't just have to tell stories just like regular storytelling. I could do this poetry, I could do singing, dancing, striptease, and that's when all the elements started to fall into place.
So 2024, developing before, it's taken until 2026 to bring it to Edinburgh, to bring it to the stage?
From January of 2024, when I first started writing those smutty poems, until uh, Edinburgh 2024, I brought it for 2 nights as part of PBH's Free Fringe. It was very, very fringy, a wonderful introduction. It was in a karaoke room in the back of a Pan Asian restaurant, and I would have had it no other way. But that was just like a half-hour work in progress version of it. The character wasn't fully formed. It wasn't called Smut. And then I worked on it for about a year, and I brought it back last year. And I did a almost an entire run at Zoo Playground. And I've since then worked on it a lot just by doing it at Edinburgh. I learned so much about the show, about the character, about British audiences. And now we've been working on it again for another year, and it's in its current form. I'm super pleased with it. I'm really excited to bring it back.
If I asked you to draw a pie chart, how much pie is still the same compared to last year?
I'd say a good amount. I'd say probably 75% pie. Here's your cat appearance that you asked for.
Don't give away the secrets of the pre-interview interview, Bryn.
I mean, there were no cats discussed.
That's fine. I can stay interrupted by a cat. That's not getting edited out. Cats are in charge of us. So, yes, pie.
Yeah, I'd say if we're talking pie, about 75% of the pie is the same as last year. As the beginning of last Fringe, because we were making a lot of changes as we went along, just seeing what worked and what didn't work at last year's Fringe. But on the fly, they maybe weren't super crisp, or needed some more work. So we really needed that extra year to really firm it up in the way it is now.
Do you keep a good record when you have to change things not when you have to change things during the Fringe, but when you're working on, or when you're iterating? Do you keep a really detailed record last August?
Honestly, as a person with ADHD, I aspire to be good at keeping records for anything, and I fail to do it at all.
So is it trusting the memory then that you're not going to reiterate back into a bit you've already done?
Yes, because I did about 19 shows last year. So we would make the changes as we were going along, and then it just got into my muscle memory, the changes, more than anything, just from doing it over and over again. Sometimes I'd slip back up, but no super organized or in-depth record keeping. I aspire one day.
You said they're changing it towards the British audience. What's it like then coming back to an American audience? Do you fall back to the sort of July American version of the show, or do you then have to start at the British one and iterate it back to America?
I think that the changes we made for the British audience, all for the most part, also served the American audience. The main difference is, especially with LA audiences, is they're very, very generous laughers. They want to laugh and laugh out loud and hoot and holler. And British audiences, unless they see you standing in front of a mic stand holding a microphone, that this image is like, okay, this is comedy, I can laugh at this out loud, that they regard it as theater. And so they kind of laugh inside their bodies. Cause like the first few nights, I was like, do they like this? What am I doing? What's happening? And then audience members would come to me after the show and they're like, that was so funny. And I was like, tell that to your face during the show. What? It looked like they were actively holding in laughs, you know? And so I changed the beginning of the show to engage them more and establish like, hey, we're old friends. You're here to see my book launch. I've known you for years. Like we know each other and like kind of because there is no fourth wall in the show, but to really say to them like it's okay to laugh. It's okay to, you know, be a person here with me. But yeah, do you agree that they hold in their laughs?
Well, if I'm going to go for the great big general answer, I think it might be something to do with permission. I think it's almost like an audience needs permission to engage with whatever show it is, whether it is something that is going to be lighthearted, whether it's going to be something very serious, whether it's going to be a musical. And I think Americans are very good at giving themselves far more permission than they sometimes deserve. Apparently we're turning into politics here. Sorry, I shall steer away there again.
No, I am with you. Sometimes Americans need to give themselves much less permission, but for another day. I actually considered, because I have, you know, a pre-show kind of announcement thing, and I considered being like, we know that Brits need permission, so you're allowed to laugh out loud. But I thought that was maybe a little heavy-handed, but I don't know.
Well, you will then get so many people going, yes, we're British, and then the other people going, no, hold on a minute, no, last, here, we're Scottish, we have traffic cones.
Yeah, fair. Maybe best I kept it out because then maybe someone will find it condescending and be like, I don't need your permission to laugh, and no, I'm not going to laugh because you do.
You can satisfy some of the people some of the time, and that includes theatre and stage. As long as everybody enjoys themselves, however they show it is always my thing. It's great doing a podcast because I never see anybody, I never know if they laugh or not. I can just think that they do.
Fingers crossed.
Coming out of last year's Fringe,
yes,
what value did it give you as a performer for the rest of the year?
Well, for the biggest thing for me was pride in myself because it was definitely the biggest creative endeavor I'd ever taken on. Now, I say that I'm also a filmmaker and I've directed 2 feature films, and those were in that world the biggest endeavors I've ever taken on, the longest, the most taxing, the most expensive, managing a ton of people. But this, like, for myself as an artist this is my first solo show. This is my first theater show, really, that I made, a full-fledged show. So to write this, devise it, produce it, bring it overseas and do this many shows. I'd certainly never done this many shows of anything before. And I was there by myself. I had my tech person, but I had never met them until we met at Edinburgh. So I was essentially there on my own PR person, my own producer, everything. So to be able to do that, I felt proud of myself, which is a good thing to bring forward artistically, but just, as a person. And I think that lent the most value in every aspect of my life.
And like any good Fringe, you've worked on the poster, that tiny 1-second glimpse that people get as they go past all the billboards. Tell me a little bit about the choices you've made for that.
So, yeah, I really love the poster design and I think it's cheeky. It's essentially me in this like kind of high glam vintage style look, and I'm just sitting on a man as furniture, and he's wearing just little leather shorts and a collar and not much else. And just showing that, Entendre Entendre is supreme and a bit smutty and a bit funny. But I think because of the poster and because of the way that I look as the character, because I'm wearing like high femme drag, you know? And sometimes I'll attract people who I don't think are necessarily in the demographic of people who are quote unquote my audience. Like when I'm flyering, I'll get drunk lads who see me just done up to the tens in makeup and sexy outfits. They're like, "All right, can I come to your show?" And I'm like, I won't give them a flyer. I'm like, no, because although the show is sexy and filthy, there is a lot of depth and nuance. And the show is also queer because I am queer and Entendre is queer. And I'd say the show is for anyone who considers themselves a feminist. It's definitely for the she's, gays, and theys. And I just hope that it finds its right crowd.
How important is that representation for you?
It's the most important because I always want to I always want to support underrepresented voices. And it's my community. And so that's where my art is coming from because I'm part of that community. That's where I'm writing from. And it's not like I wrote it intentionally being like, it's geared toward ABCD people. It's just, it happens because it's coming out of my weird little brain, weird little heart. Or shall I say, it's coming out of my queer little brain, queer little heart. And so, yeah, I think it's made for people like me.
My brain's come up with a very interesting question, and it doesn't happen often, so I listen to it.
Go on.
Did that make you feel naked?
Which part?
No, I don't know. My brain didn't tell me anymore, so I'm just going to leave it as an open question.
I think you've got smut on the brain, Ewan.
This is not news.
I'm there with you. Did it make me feel naked? It's interesting because, in the show, I do get mostly naked. And that, interestingly, doesn't make me feel naked. But, yes, I mean, doing it by myself. And like I said, I'd been the year before, but I was there for a couple nights trying it out. I'd never been for a full Fringe run, and I'd never done anything like this before. So, yeah, I did feel exposed. I felt raw. And in the way that, like, if you're naked in a place where you're not necessarily supposed to be naked, it felt a little, yeah, uneasy, almost unsafe at times. And I don't mean unsafe in like, something bad was going to happen, but I have anxiety. I've had an anxiety disorder since I was a child. So like, yeah, it really, my nervous system was alight for most of the time. And so, yeah, in that way, it did feel vulnerable and exposed and strange for sure. But when I was actually naked, not so, I didn't feel so naked.
How do you feel approaching Edinburgh now then? Is all of that still there?
Less so, much less so, especially because now I have a good PR team. My director is coming with me this time and she's going to spend the first 10 days with me. And I have a lot more support overall. Plus I have the experience that I had last year. So I'm always going to be anxious. I'm always going to have those feelings. And I guess like the rawness or the vulnerability this time around is now that I'm in a bigger venue and this is my second year, it's like, okay, you really have to show up. Last year I was an unknown. I was just trying it out, going to see what was going to happen. And so I think most artists, we do our art, we try hard, we hope that it connects with someone, but there is that fear of like, is this going to connect? And so now in my sophomore year, it's like, it should. And so that's where the vulnerability is for me. It's like, okay, I really got to show up because I got this bigger team. I have this experience. And so that's where I feel a little exposed.
Did you feel any pressure to bring a brand new show?
I did. Yeah. I heard from certain sides that I should. But I think that this show still had some more some more to show. I had I had grown a lot, I had learned a lot, and I knew that it still had legs. And I've grown a lot as a performer. I mean, just looking back at my old tapes, I've learned so much. And so I was like, I know a lot of people who come back and bring the same show twice or many, many years in a row, and people love to see them. So I was like, yeah, maybe 1 year soon, but Smut still has a journey to go on.
What is the most exciting part of coming back?
I just love the whole Fringe month because it's just very magical. I've never experienced anything like it. Just the energy in the city, right? When you put all these artists together and we're all doing our thing, and it's just really it feels magical. And especially in Edinburgh, you look around. I mean, you're probably used to it, but me, I'm like, wow, castles? What?
It's not a castle, that's a kids' museum.
Hey, potato, potato. But yeah, the adventures that energy brings, you get into such like good trouble. There's so many opportunities to meet really cool people and just kind of play like you're a kid again, which is cool. It's just like we're all weirdos doing our art and we're there trying to have fun and stay up and have drinks and see new things and meet new people and have a crepe and kiss someone at Assembly Bar. It's just like it's just
that's very precise while still being slightly ambiguous.
Well, I'm happy to go into more detail. Tongue, no tongue, savory, sweet crepe.
If I had a cat as a lawyer, the cat would be giving one of those cat stares now going, no, you can't afford if it goes wrong.
Well, my cat lawyer is very beautiful and as dumb as he is beautiful. So if you want to go, let's go. But yeah.
No, the show itself, tell us when it's up.
It is up the 5th of August through the 31st. I have off nights on the 18th and the 25th and a captioned performance on the 20th.
Did you organise the caption performance? Because I know that they've become more prevalent over the last couple of years. Or is that some support from the venue?
I organized it, but they're helping to pay for it, which is very nice.
Have you done caption performances before?
No, I never have. Yeah, this is the first time. I would have liked to last year. I just think financially I couldn't figure it out. But now this year I have, yeah, they're helping to pay it, which is very nice. Assembly is splitting costs with me. And yeah, it's something that I've always wanted to do. What I thought would be really cool is to have, I guess do you call it BSL? We call it American Sign Language, ASL. So to have a BSL interpreter, I thought would be really cool. Because have you ever seen sign language interpreters doing like the Super Bowl halftime show? They'll do like Beyonce and they're just like into it, and I'm just like, I'm not even watching the show. I'm just watching the interpreter. So I thought that would be really cool, but that's also very expensive. But yeah, I wanted to make my show as accessible as possible.
So Smut, we will have a link direct into the box office to get the tickets around all the off days as well, so you can keep track of them that way back at our website, edinburghfringe.thepodcastcorner.com. Bryn, if people want to follow your adventures in Fringe and film and elsewhere, where do I send them?
I'm very active on Instagram, so they can find me there at Bryn Woz, BrynWoz. Or if you want to follow Entendre herself, at Entendre_Entendre. And I'm also on TikTok with the same name, Bryn Woz. I guess I'm on Facebook, but who uses Facebook anymore? And yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate it as well. Links back to all of those sites she's mentioned on our website as well. Bryn and Bryn's cat lawyer, for myself and my cat's lawyer. Thanks for popping in.
Meow, meow, meow.
Bryn Woz there talking about the show Smut, which is on in the delightfully named Snug, so Smut in the Snug at the Assembly Roxy through until the 31st. Check the listings for details. Bryn is taking off Tuesday the 18th and Tuesday the 25th as we go through. And if you go to buy the tickets from the box office, you'll see those days are blacked out. And of course, if you want to get to that box office, edinburghfringe.thepodcastcorner.com, and we'll have links out to all the social media for Bryn as well. So there we go. Here's the thing, even if there's only 2,000 shows taking today off, there's still 1,500 left. That means 1,500 take off tomorrow, and there's still 2,000 left. Even at half speed, at minimum power, the Fringe is still an absolutely enormous undertaking. So to bring you just a little slice of it every day, that's why we're here in the morning, and in the afternoons and evening, I got to go out and find out who we'll talk to and bring into the podcast tomorrow. So for now, as I head out on the streets of Edinburgh, ta-ra. Listening to the Edinburgh Fringe Show, hosted by Ewan Spence, produced by Spence Media for the Podcast Corner. Listen to more from the Fringe at edinburghfringe.thepodcastcorner.com.